To show you this one of my favorite books it's a McDonald's collectibles. This is the second edition. Now I've had this about 19 years. I found it at a Borders bookstore in Pico Rivera, California, and this is a book that has had timeless value and been with me all these years, except that brief period between when I was living in hotels and moved to Eastern Idaho. And I'm going to go through what I think is the golden age of the fast food collectibles, at least the fast food toys. Now, this book covers the inception of the Happy Meal, this McDonald's, as you know, from 1979 through 2000, as this was published in 2001. But yeah, before 1979, there was no Happy Meal, as that might make sense. It was just ordering your burgers and fries, and likely the kids got the smaller fries and the smaller drinks. And Chicken McNuggets didn't come until 1980, and they weren't permanently on the menu until 1983, I think. But the fish sandwich was there since the 60s, I think. That's might be my favorite there, but awfully high on carbohydrates. The whole place is, unless you get salads. This came out at the very end of 1987, but I happen to have it, so I'll show you this package of hotcakes. Turns into a pterodactyl. I got some toys from the golden age of fast food toys, but most of them are lost in the garage somewhere, and I might have to wait till spring to show you some of those, including the one thing I wanted as much as anything else when it came out, Happy Meal Magic. So, now I'll take you on an odyssey of golden age of fast food toys. And I think Burger King also had some really neat, maybe equally neat toys. And even Dairy Queen had some pretty cute ones. I remember Silly Putty, and it was put into a case shaped like animal characters. Here we go. Maybe I'll just show you the very first. No, yeah, see? And the very first cross promotion in 1979, Star Trek, December 1979. Maybe I'll just look at the ones that I think are particularly good. Magic Motion Lamp, Duck Code Quacker. Here's DuckTales #1, I think it was. Magnifying glass, wrist wallet decoder, and telescope. I'm only human, I have to look at the book to remember everything. Yep, Fraggle Rock. Okay, go through McDonald's book and see Fraggle Rock and not show you guys. Bambi, for the re-release after 46 years. Well, those old Disney movies got lots and lots of re-releases, you know. Here is Oliver and Company. Four toys. That was pretty common with the to have a collection, a set of 4 toys. Yep, there's that daughter I talked about that was played by Billy Joel. And the snooty Georgette was played by Bette Midler. Here's DuckTales 2. This book doesn't always go in sequential order like January, February, March, April, and so on. Guys, Oliver and Company came out in November of '88. There's Mickey and Friends. I'm 100% sure I got one of those when I was little, really little. Well, the bottom is where the rest of it, you'll see the rest of them. And I was wrong, actually. Looks like, nope, I was right. And then there's Little Gardener, kind of a precursor to some pretty cool ones I'm going to show you in a little bit. Garfield. The Garfield franchise is as much for adults as it is for kids. The comic book's got a lot of adult humor. I don't mean vulgar humor. Well, some of it might be suggestive, but I mean like a sharp humor that kids wouldn't get. Rescue Rangers, there's Chip. He seemed like the more airheaded of the two, but seemed definitely nicer than Dale. I always thought their flying contraption was really neat. It looked like it was made from some bottle of toothpaste and, you know, a lot of other basic items. And here's the Little Mermaid. You know, it used to be that McDonald's released toys to coincide with the animated picture that came out every year. There's Eric holding Sebastian, but we actually never show them meeting till after he vanquishes the Sea Witch. Yeah, I don't remember him meeting Flounder or Sebastian or Triton even before then, just Ariel and Ursula, and moments later he destroyed her. And look, there's that squirting flounder toy. That looks suspiciously like one they later made at Burger King to coincide with the animated series. It's pretty much the same thing, a squirting flounder toy. And I was confused when I thought that Burger King also released Little Mermaid toys that coincided with the original release. But nope, when Beauty and the Beast came out in 1991, through The Hunchback of Notre Dame, it was Burger King that released the toys. And those, I think, were some of the nicest, too, but I don't have a book on Burger King. Oh, look at this. Isn't that nice? Bedtime, a toothbrush, a rinsing cup, toothpaste. Oh, that Ronald McDonald was leaning on a star. It's glow in the dark, too. Cool. Oh, books and cassette tapes. I just love those. Here's stories about dinosaurs. Just a little bit before, Michael Crichton released a book called Jurassic Park. Raggedy Ann and Andy. It's a kind of quaint there. Some people might say kitsch, but more as classic as Mickey Mouse. Now, some of you might remember that McDonald's released Berenstain Bears books. And here's Peanuts, guys. Those are kind of nice toys, yeah? Valentine's. I always liked getting those paper tear apart Valentines before we really knew what love meant. Well, Valentine love. Oh, the Jungle Book. Yes, I very vaguely remember getting those at McDonald's. Play-Doh. And just wait a second there, guys. We've got an antique mall near us. And some of these I just happen to have right here to show you. Oh-wee-oh, tailspin, oh-wee-oh, tailspin. Friends would lie through thick and thin with another tail to spin. Now, it's interesting. When a tailspin originally came out, me and my brother liked to mock it and call it dumb. But when I got a little bit older, I really had nothing against tailspin. And I'm going to do a magic trick here. I'm going to pull these toys right out of there. See? There's Baloo and Kit. He is a really tough kid. Kit Cluckalander or something. Yeah, but I just thought a sweet kid wouldn't do in a show like that. Kind of makes sense. He just seemed like kind of a 90s cartoon kid. I thought these were some of my favorites here. There's their little movie cameras from the Rescuers Down Under. And I remember getting Cody and Bernard and Bianca and Jake. And I thought Wilbur was the neatest looking one, but I didn't get it originally when they were being sold at McDonald's. I remember a neighbor girl had it, and I thought it was pretty cool looking. It was purple and I hadn't gotten it before. Oh, something else interesting is some of these toys were regional. Like, I like bikes. This is Northern Illinois and South Carolina. Oh, Mack Trouble is a quaint throwback to the 50s or 60s. I remember this guy that had a head like a moon. He's right up there with the Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah, knocking down walls and and all kinds various attire. You see a Kool-Aid Man as a cowboy on one package. Kool-Aid. And there's the good old McDonald's characters. I think they retired them. Yeah, I met Ronald McDonald. I remember meeting him once when I was about 9. A Hamburglar, Birdie Bird. Grimace seemed like a precursor to Patrick Star. And there's grooming aids. And more morning stuff. Now this is the first set of Tiny Toon Adventures. These were changeable cars. Kind of funny how I thought it seemed like stuff for older kids and grown-ups would be at Burger King, not McDonald's. But yeah, Tiny Toon Adventures, any G-rated cartoon is stereotyped as, seems to be stereotyped as merely a kid show, but the satire and caricatures and that, and the references, there's just way too many that kids wouldn't get that would appeal to grown-ups. Like, see that, well, I'll talk about that in another video, but here, you can comment or like and subscribe if you remember these. It's funny, that bunny right there actually looks like Buster Bunny. When I was about 7.5 or 8, I actually wanted to be Buster Bunny, at least for a little while. I had just seen a movie Big, where a kid who's on the verge of turning 13 wishes to be big to impress a girl and get on a ride, and he, you know, wakes up as looking like a 30-something-year-old man. Nature's Helper, these are kind of neat. Aren't they? Kind of cute. And there's Babs and Lucky Duck. Lucky Duck had such an attitude. He was so egotistical and rude. But some people thought he was the best character. Oh, look at that. This is actually 1991, the hotcakes that changed into a pterodactyl. And there was the Barbies and Hot Wheel. Well, there's Barbie. There's Hot Wheels. I usually got the Hot Wheels, as you might expect, but so I don't remember the Barbies too well. But I do remember the Hot Wheels kind of fondly. And Discover the Rainforest. Kind of brings a sense of wonder to a kid, a little kid in the 90s like I was. Oh, Super Tunes, Looney Tunes. Oh, I remember those. I kind of like those. There's the Flash Taz, Bat Duck, Super Bugs. Petunia Pig was Wonder Woman. And Hook, look. There's Peter Pan. That, I don't think that much looked like the Peter Pan in the movie played by Robin Williams. There's Captain Hook and Rufio. You know, Dustin Hoffman was definitely cast against type, playing this, you know, irascible, vicious, colorful villain like Captain Hook. He always seems to play a quiet, mild-mannered, good guy. He played a gangster in Billy Bathgate that same year. I bet he was a more mild-mannered one. And in Dick Tracy a little earlier, he was also a villain, but I think he was more nebbish, kind of nebbishy and just kind of lost and scared. Not truly bad. Muppet Babies Regional March. Alvin and the Chipmunks Regional March. Gravedale High, definitely a regional one. That was kind of a funky cartoon made by Rick Moranis. It was called Rick Moranis' Gravedale High. Cleopatra, Vinnie Stoker, Freaking Tyke, Sid the Invisible Kid. Oh, here we go. Now, I remember the advertisements were really, there was a real allure to them. The toys you saw on the advertising boards, and in this little bubble that Ronald McDonald held up where he showed the toys. Now, I don't want to do a disservice to modern toys, but I don't think toys of today, or past the mid-90s, past 1990, sometime in 1994, I don't think they compare to toys from this age. But I thought these were so neat. I have these out in the garage, actually. It's called Mystery of the Lost Arches. There's what looks like a camera, but it's really a kaleidoscope, and what looks like a phone is really a periscope, and a telescope that looks like a flashlight, and what looks like a tape recorder is a magnifying glass. Back to the Future. I was really into this franchise. Well, I was kind of into it at the time, but it was kind of brought on by how I liked the song Johnny Be Good so much. And these toys are not based on the movie, they're based on a cartoon series of Back to the Future. It was Marty McFly's character was quite a bit different. He was kind of a fun-loving, smart-aleck kid. But I always thought that hoverboard toy was neat. Einstein's Train, Doc DeLorean, and Dan Castellaneta, who's a man of 1,000 voices from The Simpsons and small roles in movies, actually did the voice of Doc Brown, and there's an opening sequence with Christopher Lloyd, as in the real Christopher Lloyd, not as a cartoon. Oh, I'm gonna do some more magic in a little while, but Nature's Watch, I think that's another one of the coolest toys from that era. You got a terrarium where you can grow flowers and shovels and a bird feeder and a water can. So much that in recent years I bought these online. Bird feeder is one of the nearest nature thingamajigs. Maybe nature products. Oh, and look at this. These seeds are 31 years old. I haven't used them. If I use them, there might be a time machine. Oh, Batman Returns. I remember this coming out. That, I think, had probably one of the top 10 creepiest posters I remember as a child. It was a penguin and a Catwoman, and even Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman looked kind of creepy in that pose, and there's an army of penguins down below. But I remember these toys were pretty neat. The Batman, you push on his head and he zooms forward, and there's Catwoman and the Penguin. I thought the Penguin was the coolest looking one. And this was definitely controversial back then. It was a PG-13 movie where that definitely earned its rating, and those aren't meant for young children. They're not really supposed to be family movies, and yet here they were in the Happy Meals at McDonald's. And not only that, but people complain that they couldn't eat their food without getting grossed out having to look at the Penguin on the boxes. Another Barbie, and there's been so many Barbies. She's been in everything. And those old vehicles that you punch on that pad and they burst forward. Oh, this is another really cool one. Behind the scenes activities, balance builders, animation wheel, rub and draw templates. But my favorite of all is this rainbow viewer. I have that somewhere in boxes. Sadly, I didn't hold on to these all these years. I bought them online and found them in second-hand places later. Oh, and here's more Tiny Toons. Easy Doodle, Babs, Buster Bunny, Go Doodle, Elmira, Montana Match, Sweetie, Lucky Duck. Got more updated looking ones. Yogi Bear, I'm smarter than the average bear, and Boo Boo. The new Yogi Bear came out in the late, like 88, I think. Oh, and these were so cool. It was music to my ears when I found out we were going to McDonald's because of these toys. Like we were going to McDonald's after a basketball game on Saturday. It's a M Squad. You got a spy stamper, which is actual ink, a spy coder which has a crayon and it looks like a walkie-talkie, and spy trucker watches, spinoculars. This is the best one of all, I think. You know, when I was little, I never got that they were supposed to look like binoculars. I just thought you looked in both these lenses separately, but take a look at them. Oh, dinosaurs. I remember that sitcom, but didn't get that it was kind of a takeoff of Roseanne and the Family sitcom. I hear that had like the most disappointing ending in sitcom history. Fast food fundamentals. Otis, I remember. Do you? That's actually my tagline. I remember. Or do you remember? I do. These sentient foods and yeah. Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Stretch Limo, Porky's Ghost Catcher, Daffy's Splitting Sportster, Taz Tornado Trucker, and Looney Tunes especially was not merely for kids, but it was for all ages. I mean, and all the, it was a irreverent show with some definitely satire, and it was maybe the South Park of the 50s. And I remember these ones. I was really into Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs when it had its re-release. And Snow White, I collected some trading cards for a while, but back then I didn't know how to collect them, i.e., I didn't have a checklist and know which ones to look for and about the chase card. There's Barbie. I think if you're a boy, they naturally assumed you wanted Barbie unless you said otherwise. It's kind of seems like a gender stereotyping propaganda they did every summer, but it wasn't entirely. It was just toys that they generally think of as girl toys and toys they more think of as boy toys. And majority of the time the boys got the Hot Wheels, and I think a majority of the time the girls got the Barbies, but more often the girls, of course, got the cars than the boys got the Barbies. But I think these were some nice looking ones. I think I remember that dragster my brother got. A leaf printer, a nature view. Whoa, a kaleidoscope. That is a cool kaleidoscope. That's cooler than the last one I showed you. The field trip theme. Totally Toy Holiday. There's that magic nursery, and I remember that little baby boy was a lot harder to find than little baby girl. And then Polly Pocket and the stereotypical boy counterpart, which I thought was kind of cool anyway. Most kids probably thought was kind of somewhat cool was Mighty Max. It looks like a 12-year-old boy that fights monsters. And a little girl with the magical shoes. I forget what the secret is. Then there's Making Movies. That's one of the last neat series of fast food toys from McDonald's, I think. And Sonic the Hedgehog. That was Urkel, Jaleel White, who did the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. And look at that Tails toy. That was recalled. It didn't work very well, but I sure remember getting that Sonic where you push on the button and he goes forward hundreds of miles an hour. I don't know if I got Knuckles. That's when I started playing Sonic the Hedgehog. About then. Bobby's World. You might remember that. It was kind of a fun cartoon hosted by Howie Mandel. I think I remember getting on one afternoon at the mall, and my brother's like, I know what this is. This turns into a stupid wagon. But I don't see which one it is. Oh yeah, I think it was this one. In the front there. Oh, there's more Earth Day toys. There's people. There was kind of a freak out about the environment in the early 90s, but 1994 crossed into the mid 90s here. And Animaniacs. It's time for Animaniacs. We're zany to the max, there's baloney in our sex. Bill Clinton plays the sax. That was as wacky as Tiny Toons and more, I think. Oh, the Flintstones. I remember these. The Rock Donald, Toy Saurus. The Flintstone House. The gas station. I remember seeing that Flintstones movie in the theater, and I didn't know any of the all-star cast members like John Goodman and Rick Moranis and Elizabeth Perkins, and Elizabeth Taylor was Wilma's mom, and Kyle MacLachlan was the bad guy. And it seemed like for years that was just a stupid movie. Like, I don't know. I didn't love it. My mom didn't love it, I don't think. And when my brother's like, oh, hey, they have the Flintstones movie to rent here at the hotel, he's like, didn't you like that one? And she's like, I wasn't crazy about it. And I think maybe 5 years later or so, she was saying how it was just plain stupid. But I don't think she disliked the movie. We've watched it since then. The annoying part is the twist where it turns out it was just a movie they were watching on the drive-in theater at the end. Oh, I remember these ones. Mickey and Friends from Around the World. Mickey Mouse USA. Chip in China. Dale in Morocco. Pluto in France. Minnie in Japan. Donald in Mexico. Daisy in Germany. Goofy in Norway. I think I remember getting Daisy and Goofy. And there's some more Barbies and Kens. I've heard Ken is kind of the male counterpart of the Karen. That middle-aged lady with blonde hair who, will get you fired because you gave her a regular soda instead of a diet soda, and makes other people's well, I think you know what a Karen is. Someone that really gets in other people's business and feels entitled and is rude. And Hot Wheels. Yeah, oh, and one more of these toys I'm going to look at is, there was a Happy Birthday in November. I remember this Sonic the Hedgehog, they all formed this big train. And I remember Patrick's like, yay, now we get to watch cartoons in bed. Boy, if only he knew what they'd have in just like a dozen years down the road, or 15 years down the road. And I remember when I was little, getting these wonderful, neat-looking toys, like the Rescuers Down Under and the 1991 Nature. Oh my gosh, I forgot to show you these. These are so cool. Michael Jordan Fitness. Little basketball, little baseball, little soccer, a little stopwatch, a frisbee, a cute little football, and jump rope and squeeze bottle. Those were cool. But yeah, I remember going to McDonald's before our mom had a food court, and it was just like a kind of stand alone. It was just, just another space in the mall. And there are still a lot of fast food places like that, I think. I mean, this was a long time ago, but I remember that Montebello Mall had a Burger King like that. Now, I'm going to show you some products before I spend too much time and you don't want to watch this video anymore. The Happy Meal Magic, man, that was the ticket. I think I rebought the snack maker, which is complete with the hamburger maker, the fry maker, and the soda maker, about 10 years later, and I actually have the drink maker and the shake maker. And I have like what is that? What's that one? Frozen fruit snack maker. The cookie maker, those were delicious cookies actually. But they weren't really cookies, they were made of graham crackers and they were soft. And the hamburgers were made out of a vanilla wafer and some sweet fillings. And the French fries were just you Frenched a piece of bread and sprinkled cinnamon and sugar on it. But the drinks obviously were real drinks. And I remember Oliver and Company Christmas one that we had in. Oliver and Company was kind of when I was curious, when I was pretty interesting animated movies because I saw it when I was 2 years old, but ever since I was 6 or 7, I knew it was a movie and what the characters looked like, but I could never find it anywhere. And I remember, let me find you that. Christmas. You might want to consider getting this book too. Well, now I'll show you the displays instead. These were like as cool as the toys themselves, I think. There's Garfield there. There's Berenstain Bears. Super Looney Tunes, 101 Dalmatians, Barbie, Jungle Book. And I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know why they had to change all the logos and make them look so modern looking. I mean, fortunately, I don't think the McDonald's logos changed much, but the milk container used to be like the ones you get at school, the paper ones, and it would be red with yellow M's on it. And the drink cups, they used to have colorful kind of scribbly designs on them on the sodas and hamburgers and fries. And you remember Burger King's old Bunhouse logo. Fortunately, they've been nice enough to kind of bring that back thanks to Stranger Things. Hope you found this trip down memory lane really fascinating. Alright, later guys.